Hey crafty friends, it's Joy here for Crafty Meraki, and today I'm going to be hot foiling with black foil, and it is a little bit different. It's not quite as shiny, but it is beautiful. So I'm going to be using the Sahara Symphony. This is a glimmer plate or a shimmer plate, and then we're using the Artisan Flora dies, the wreath. So let's start with our foiling. I have a small piece, or an A2 size piece, excuse me, of white cardstock. I'm using 120 pound cardstock. I do like a thicker cardstock for foiling. I think that looks really nice. And then I have this black foil here. This is a hot foil. And you're going to put the shiny side to the glimmer plate. I'm going to place this down, let my glimmer hot foil system finish heating up. Once it does, we can pull that out of the docking station, add our plate and our shim, and run it through the die cut machine. I'm using the Platinum 6 die cut machine here. And then I like to roll it through forward and backward nice and slow. Then we can peel back this foil, and we're going to have this gorgeous, gorgeous foiled background. I love this Sahara Symphony background. It's so pretty. You get a little bit of shine with that black foil, but not like you would with a gold foil or something like that. So it's a little bit different. Then on another piece of cardstock, I am just going to do some ink smooshing. I am using Distress Oxide inks in Saltwater Taffy and Worn Lipstick. And I just want to get these really fun backgrounds. We're going to use this background to die cut our flowers from the Artisan Flora wreath die. So this is an easy way to get some color on your cardstock. It's different than ink blending, and then you can die cut your beautiful floral dies from this, and it's going to give it just a different look. You're going to have variations in color, and it just works out so nice. So there's that big background. I did decide to add a little more of the saltwater taffy, and I really thinned it out with more water so it would kind of fill in some of those white spaces that I had on the background. So I just kept doing it until I got a really good coverage and what I was looking for. I'm going to do the same thing with Rustic Wilderness. I do take my heat tool to it just a little bit to kind of start speeding up the drying time. So let's do another piece of cardstock. I just need a little A2 size piece. The Rustic Wilderness, this is going to be for the leaves, but I'm going to do the same thing, but just one color with this. So let's do a little bit more on the work surface, spritzing it with some water and getting that background colored. I am just loving that. And I want that to dry too. It doesn't need to be completely dry, but I don't want it to be soaking wet when I'm going to be using my dies. So here are some of those wreath dies here, the flowers. And I'm going to die cut these a couple times because I want a good amount of flowers. And I just want to show you when you pop them out. These are layering dies. Super fun. There's 3 different types of flowers on here. So I did die cut multiples of those. So I'm going to put that in place, run that back through my die cut machine. Here are the leaves. You get 2 different types of leaves. I'm going to die cut this twice. I will have 2 of one kind and 1 of another. I didn't need a lot of leaves because I can actually trim these apart and use them for my background. Then I'm using some squeeze lemonade for the centers and then a darker brown for some of the other centers to the flowers. These had a little bit of pink on them. It didn't matter because I was covering them up, and the pink and the yellow made orange, and so that didn't bother me for the centers. But if you don't like that, die cut those flowers again to get the centers, and then you could just ink blend them from a straight white cardstock. Let's put these flowers together. This is one of the larger ones. There's 3 pieces to it plus the center pieces. So I'm going to get those lined up. They're just kind of offset a little bit. They overlap a little bit, and then this will kind of fill in some of the gaps there in the flower. And then there's 2 center pieces for this one. You have this big one that kind of looks like a spider. And then you have this center circle one, and we're going to pop that in place. Then we have the next size down. This just has 2 petals, or excuse me, 2 layers. And then you have the center pieces. So let's put those guys in place. These have darker pieces here. You could leave it like that. There is another little piece that I'm putting in the center, but I think you could leave it like that too because that's really cute. And then there's one more flower that is 2 layering pieces plus the center, but it's smaller than that other one. It's different shaped, a little bit smaller. But look at how pretty they are. I just think these are really, really delicate, pretty flowers. So there, I have 2 of these. And then let's put those centers in place. These have big centers, and then you can do that little frame right on top. And reverse tweezers are so handy dandy for this. It just keeps your fingers out of the way, and you can put everything down where you need it. Okay, let's adhere our foiled background to a black matte background because that is trimmed down slightly smaller than an A2 size card base. And let's start adding our flowers. A couple of these are going to have dimension with some foam adhesive squares, and other ones will just be adhered directly to the background with a tape roller. And I love having lots of dimension on my cards. Then let's start trimming some of these leaves. They're just a little bit too long because again, this is made to make a wreath, but obviously I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to trim those down, and you can just use bits and pieces and parts to put your card together. I just think this looks so fun, and see the variation in the color of, even though it's just the same green, but because we did the ink smooshing, some areas were darker and some were lighter. I love how it turns out. And the same thing with the flowers. I just think it adds a lot of character to your card. I'm just deciding where I want more of these different shaped leaves and how to put them around, and I didn't want it to be too leafy. So let's put this other guy in place. And I actually do end up using a couple more flowers. I was going to keep it like that, but then the flowers are just so pretty. So I added 2 more here. Then for my sentiment, I am stamping it on black cardstock using white embossing powder. This is Tiny Words Faith from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to trim that out with my paper trimmer. And I sometimes love really tiny sentiments. There's something about that I love. I'm going to pop that up with some foam adhesive, and then we can just put this right in place. And I just love that black foil background and these pink cards against it. It's just stunning. And you can see a little bit of shine with that black foil. It's a little dulled down, so I think it's good for like a guy's card. You could totally get away with that kind of foil, and that foil plate is fantastic. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.